You've probably seen it bubbling up online, maybe even in your own community. There's this growing backlash against AI, and it is getting loud. This isn't just a niche tech debate anymore. It's turning into a real, passionate, and pretty complex resistance. So today, we're going to pull this whole movement apart and try to figure out what's really driving it. Let's dive in. Right now, there are basically two completely different stories being told about this backlash. On the one hand, you get the meme version, right? The idea that anyone protesting AI is just like a caveman fighting the invention of the wheel, just scared of the future, resisting inevitable progress. But then, on the other hand, you have major players like Time magazine putting it on their cover, framing it as this serious, high-stakes battle, the people versus AI. So which one is it?
And that really gets us to the heart of the matter for this explainer. Are we all just caught up in a media hype cycle? Or is this the beginning of something real, something deeply felt, with actual political power behind it? Well, to figure that out, we've got to look beyond the hot takes and get to the data.
And when we do look past the headlines, oh boy, it becomes pretty clear that AI has a massive public relations problem. And I'm not talking about a vague feeling. The numbers show a significant and frankly growing level of public anxiety. The numbers just don't lie. Okay, check this out. A recent YouGov study is incredibly revealing. A clear majority of Americans, 58%, flat out say they do not trust AI. Only 35% do. I mean, that is a huge confidence gap. It tells you that right now, for most people, distrust is the starting point. And that skepticism, it gets even sharper when you start talking about people's wallets and their jobs. A staggering 45% of Americans think AI's impact on the economy will be mostly negative. Now look at that tiny little bar next to it. Just 16% believe it's going to be a net positive. The takeaway here is huge. The public is not buying the economic promises of AI, not by a long shot. And this isn't just about what people say in polls. This sentiment is spilling over into real-world action. For example, a video of hundreds of regular citizens in New Jersey showing up to a town planning meeting and successfully getting a new data center project shut down. That video went viral, racking up 5 million views. It shows that grassroots organization is happening, and man, is it resonating with people. So, if this resistance is real and it's growing, who exactly is it? Well, here's where it gets interesting. It's a huge mistake to think of this as one single organized group. It's way more like a coalition of different tribes, each one with its own unique reasons for being worried. The statistician Nate Silver just absolutely nailed why this political moment is so different. Think about it. In the past, tech disruptions often hit blue-collar jobs, and it happened over decades. That alone caused huge political fights. But with AI, it's hitting influential white-collar professionals first. And it's happening at lightning speed. The benefits aren't as obvious to everyone, and the people getting hit have a lot more political clout. That is a recipe for a political battle like we've never seen before. So, let's actually try to map this whole landscape. It's time to break down these different tribes of critics so we can really understand all the different fears that are fueling this big, messy, and growing backlash. All right, first up, you have some of the high-level thinkers and financial folks. You've got the AI safety or X-risk crowd. These people believe AI is becoming incredibly powerful, and their main worry is that it could literally be an existential threat to humanity. Then, kind of funny, you have the total opposite, the capability skeptics. They think AI is basically just a fancy autocomplete and isn't powerful enough to be a real problem. And then there are the AI bubblers. They don't care as much about the tech itself. They're just focused on the market, convinced it's all a massive financial bubble waiting to pop. Now, a group that has been incredibly visible and very, very vocal are the artist advocates. We're talking about writers, artists, musicians, and all their supporters. Their concerns aren't abstract, they are immediate and they're personal. They're fighting these huge battles over copyright, intellectual property, and what they see as the core injustice of these massive AI models being trained on their life's work without permission and without paying them a dime. And the coalition just keeps getting wider. It includes people who call themselves slop secessionists. They just have this gut-level, visceral hatred for the look and feel of AI-generated content. You also have child and teen advocates, many from conservative or religious backgrounds, who are deeply worried about what AI is doing to child development and basic human relationships. And of course, you have the data center deniers, like the people we saw in New Jersey, who are organizing on a local level to fight the actual physical infrastructure of AI. But you know what? All of those groups, as vocal and important as they are, they're likely dwarfed by the single largest, most politically powerful group in this whole coalition, a group that is united by one fundamental, pressing fear.
And that group is the job displacement warriors. This is a massive, incredibly diverse coalition of people from every walk of life. Their concern is straightforward, that AI is going to automate jobs on a scale we've never seen before, especially hitting those white-collar roles that always felt so secure. Their fear is simple, it's powerful, and it's all about massive economic disruption. So we have all these different groups with all these different fears. But why is it all boiling over right now? What is it about this particular moment in time that has made the public so ready, so receptive to all these anti-AI arguments? Well, the answer lies in the very long shadow cast by big tech. To really understand the skepticism today, you have to rewind and look at our journey with the last huge tech revolution, social media. Remember back in, say, 2010? The promise was so utopian, it was going to connect the globe, empower everyone. Fast forward to 2016, and that hope had totally curdled into doubt. All we talked about were filter bubbles and misinformation. And where are we today? We're left with this deep institutional distrust of tech companies. People feel like they've seen this movie before. They were sold a grand vision that didn't quite work out. This social media hangover, it means millions of people are now looking at AI through a lens of pure cynicism. They're just not willing to take big tech's promises at face value anymore. So what you end up with is this really caustic environment made up of three main ingredients. First, you've got that deep-seated cynicism from the social media era we just talked about. Second, there are these very legitimate, very real concerns about the unchecked power of big tech to just shape every aspect of our lives. And third, you layered on top of all of that this widespread economic anxiety, that vibe session, right, where the official numbers might look okay, but a lot of people just feel like they're barely staying afloat. It's the perfect storm for public doubt to flourish.
And sometimes the leaders of the AI industry themselves just make things worse. When OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, casually compared the 20 years it takes to train a human to how they train an AI model, the backlash was immediate. As one developer put it, that kind of talk is tone-deaf and strategically reckless. It makes regular people feel like they're being seen as nothing more than slow, inefficient computers, and that just fuels resentment.
Okay, I know this all might sound incredibly negative, but if you look closer at all this criticism, you start to see something else. You see an opportunity. Because a lot of these concerns aren't some declaration of war on technology itself. Really, they're a request for a conversation, a demand to be included in how this stuff gets rolled out. And this quote just illustrates the point perfectly. This nurse, Hannah Drummond, she's not some anti-tech fanatic. She doesn't want to ban AI from hospitals. She's just asking a very smart, very reasonable question based on her professional experience. Everything that reaches patients in healthcare has gone through rigorous testing. Why would we cut out those same test points for this? See? Her concern isn't about stopping progress. It's about making sure progress is done safely and responsibly.
This points towards a potential way forward, a path out of this conflict. It's a path that starts by acknowledging specific, real harms, not just having abstract debates. It's a path that focuses on creating policies that can actually solve problems, like fair energy pricing for data centers. And most importantly, it's a path that involves actually talking with the communities that are going to be affected by all this. And this right here might be the single most crucial thing to understand about this entire moment. Despite the loud voices at the extremes, the public conversation around AI has not set in stone yet. The vast majority of people are still somewhere in the middle. They're not die-hard tech skeptics, but they're not blind optimists either. They're just regular people trying to figure out what this all means for them, their jobs, and their families. Public opinion is still very much up for grabs. Which leaves us with one last big question to chew on. As we keep building these incredibly powerful systems, is it possible that the biggest challenges we face won't be technical at all? That they won't be problems of code and silicon, but instead they'll be the deeply human challenges of trust, fairness, and figuring out how to build a future that actually benefits everyone, not just a select few? The answer to that is anything but certain. Thanks for tuning in.